This is page 14 in our notes. Again, we're still reviewing 5th grade standards to help us so that we can get into the standard for dividing fractions. I'm going to use red and black again for my colors. So at the top I'm going to write review 5th grade. What are we reviewing today? We are going to review add and subtract fractions with like and unlike denominators. So I'm going to write add and subtract fractions with like and unlike denominators. For like, sometimes we call those, they have a common denominator. So add and subtract fractions, you're going to use like and unlike denominators. This is a review, so this might be easy for some people, so I'm not going to spend a large amount of time, but we'll do a couple practice problems. So a couple ways I'm going to do this. I will write them sideways. I'll also write them up and down so you can see that. So the first example is 12 out of 20. So 12 out of 20, and I'm going to add 18 out of 20 to that. So what I mean by like is they both have 20 as a denominator, so you're ready to just add the numerators. So you're just adding 12 plus 18. So if I write that over here, you're actually adding 12 plus 18, and then you don't add the 20s together, you just keep that as the same denominator. 12 plus 18 actually gives me 30 out of 20, and in our last video we talked about we don't leave our answers as an improper, so I don't want to leave this as improper. We circled it, put the slash through it. How do I change improper then to something else? We change it to a mixed number. We talked about that before in the last video. So you take 30 and you divide by 20. 20 goes into 30 one whole time, which gives us 20, and our remainder is 10. We circle our remainder and we make a fraction bar. 10 goes on the top out of 20. And this is a good answer, 1 and 10/20ths, but there's a better answer you can have. You can divide both of these by 10, and a better answer would be 1 and 1/2. So you leave the denominators the same, you just add the numerators. If you get an improper fraction, then you need to divide. Some of you call this dump and divide to get a mixed number, and then we just simplify it down to 1 and 1/2. So kind of draw a line here in our notes and do another example. The next example is going to be 3 over 10, and we are going to subtract 1 over 10. And they have like denominators, are both 10, so we know our answer over here is going to be 10. So you're ready to subtract 3 minus 1, which is 2/10. And this is good, but there's a better answer. You can divide both of these by 2 to simplify, and you're going to get 1/5. So hopefully those two are reviews for like denominators. Go ahead and draw a line here in your notes. So I did an addition problem and a subtraction problem. I think when they have like denominators, it's okay to go sideways with them. Some people are okay with writing them up and down. I kind of like the sideways method there. For unlike denominators, so when they're not the same, a couple ways to do that. I actually prefer to write these ones up and down. So I'm going to put some stars here. So when the denominators are not the same, there's a little bit extra work. I'm putting stars here. These ones I would say write up and down instead of sideways, but you don't necessarily have to. That's just the way I prefer to see it. Move this up. So the example I'm going to write with the black pen, and then we're going to change it with the red pen. The first example is 1/4. Notice I'm writing in the spaces, tracing the blue line. 1/4. I'm going to skip a line in between that and come down, plus 1/3. 1/3. And I'm going to put the plus sign out here, and I'm going to trace this blue line. So 1/4 and 1/3, the denominators are not the same. So we need to make these have the same denominator. So I'm going to change to red. How do I make both of these have the same denominator? Well, you can always take the denominators and multiply them by each other to get the same denominator. That's not always their least common multiple, but that's one way to do it. So if you take 3 times 4, which is that denominator, then you need to take the top times 4, which would give you 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 4 is 12, If I want this denominator to be 12 up here, then I'm actually taking the 4 times this denominator, which is 3. So you're taking both of these times 3. Notice I'm writing it in both times. 1 times 3 is 3. So now we both have 12 as our denominators, and you're ready to add these fractions together. When they have similar denominators, 12, you just add the numerators. 3 plus 4 would give us 7 out of 12, and that's simplest form for our answer. Let's do another example over here. Draw a squiggly line. A lot of steps here to remember. So we're going to use the same line where I started this problem. I'm going to start up here on this line. 3/4, skip a line, minus 5/8. Let me put 5/8 right below that and trace this blue line. So I have 4 and I have an 8. In this case, I don't have to take 4 times 8 to get common denominators over here. I know that the little number 4 actually goes into the big number 8. So I actually don't even have to change this one. I can leave it as 5/8. This one, I need the denominator to be 8. I want them to be the same. So I could take this times 2 to get 8, and then I have to take the top times 2, which gives me 6/8. Now, if I have 6/8, can I take that and subtract the 5/8? Yeah, that gives me 1/8 that's left for my answer. And that's simplest form as well. So this should be a review on adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators. They're pretty quick. With unlike denominators, you have to make them common to do that. I like going sideways. I'm not saying you have to, but that's what I would have you do. So your homework for this particular thing is to practice paper pencil. You've got a front and back worksheet. The front of the worksheet is called Reteaching 4-2, and on the front I'm going to have you do problems 1, 2, 3, which works on adding, and then I want you to do problems 10, 11, and 12, which works on subtraction. So this is kind of you get 3 problems for each to practice. So you're going to do those paper pencil, and then you can use a calculator to check. On the back of the worksheet, it's called Going for the Gold or something like that, Going for Gold. I would like you to do problems A, B, C, D, and E. So what I'd like you to do for both of these is I would like you to do obviously the paper pencil like I just showed you in your notes, and then check with a calculator. That way you're practicing using your calculator and how to plug in fractions, and you're also practicing this skill, paper pencil. This should be a review. You don't have to do the whole worksheet. That's why I'm just asking you to do it. Looks like 6 here and 5 here for problems.